This week was a historic moment when President Biden signed the Respect for Marriage Act that codifies same-sex marriage here in the United States. And as expected, conservatives had an absolute meltdown over this new piece of legislation that's designed to prevent the U.S. Supreme Court from overturning their same-sex marriage ruling from over a decade ago. And of course, that's why they had to do it. That's why we have this legislation, because in their Roe ruling, you had justices suggest that, hey, maybe we ought to revisit some of these other things and strip you of your rights. Laura Ingraham on Fox News was one of the people who freaked out when this happened, claiming both that it somehow destroys the nuclear family and two, takes away the rights of religious people in this country. So let me read these statements from her. Joe Biden held kind of an over-the-top, celebration, this extravaganza that was named the Respect for Marriage Act, a bill that moves to restrict freedom of religion and freedom of speech even. Whether you're Catholic or evangelical or maybe Muslim, any serious person of faith, you will not necessarily have the rights tomorrow that you had today. Now, she said more, and what she says later on is possibly even weirder, but let's stop for a moment and talk about that. You are not going to have the rights today or tomorrow that you had today. That is a flat out lie told by a very stupid person. Nobody lost any rights when the Respect for Marriage Act was signed into law this week. Nobody lost anything. What was gained were rights for same-sex couples. Rights that were teetering on the brink of extinction. They don't have to worry about that anymore. Religious folks, your lives didn't change at all. It didn't change. Your marriage is not in jeopardy. Your freedom of speech has not been infringed in any way. You can still marry, and now you can actually marry whoever the hell you want in this country, as long as they're legally of age. Unless you're in a red state, and some of those allow you to marry kids. Now, you want to talk about groomers? How about the red states that allow men to marry child brides? But that's a conversation for a different day. Marriage is protected here in the United States. Whether you want to marry a man or a woman, doesn't matter. This piece of legislation codified that without stripping anyone else of their rights. Now, as I mentioned, she says more, and this is the part that struck me as odd. Let's be very clear here. This push by the left, Biden included, is about destroying the primacy of the nuclear family. The nuclear family, as Laura Ingraham calls it. How's your family? I don't want to go there. But guess what? I'm going to go there. You talk about the primacy of the nuclear family like that is the thing that needs to be protected. How about we look at the Ingram household? And by the way, I'm not judging you. I have no problem with the way you live your life. But if you have a problem with the way others do, saying they're destroying something that you yourself aren't living up to, then that's hypocrisy. And we're going to point it out because Laura Ingraham has never been married. Laura Ingraham does have 3 kids. But by her own definition, that's not a nuclear family, and we have to protect the nuclear family. Look, if you don't ever want to get married, that's fine. If you want to have kids and not have a husband or a spouse or whatever, do it. I don't care. You're free to do it. I support you. So I don't care that Laura Ingraham does not have a traditional nuclear family. Good for her. But at the same time, she doesn't have the right to go out there and attack others for destroying the nuclear family when she's not even living by her own rules. That's the problem, folks. The hypocrisy and, of course, her impression that her audience is so stupid that they won't do a simple Google search to find out she's not living by the same words she is preaching.
This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.